What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going over 10 of the most disturbing acts committed by Marvel and DC villains, and without further ado, let's get straight onto the list with number 10, the Blob eats the Wasp. In the beginning, Marvel's Ultimate Universe offered an interesting take on the Avengers and X-Men, but fans started to slowly lose interest. This comic book was filled with so many bad moments, such as fan favorite characters drowning when a tsunami hits New York, and Wolverine being blown apart by Magneto. The one moment many fans will never forget about is what happened after the Wasp died. In the comic, Hawkeye helps Yellow Jacket search for the Wasp, and that's when they discover the Blob eating her corpse. No, the Blob did not actually kill her, but that does not change the fact that eating her dead body was very unnecessary. The Blob may be considered a C-list villain, but this definitely shows how evil he could be. After Hank Pym found out what the Blob did and bit off the villain's head, Joker turned Robin into Joker Jr. Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker is an animated film that shows Terry McGinnis taking the mantle of Batman after Bruce Wayne has retired. It is a sequel to Batman the Animated Series and the New Batman Adventures. Terry is trying to look for the Joker, but ends up finding Tim Drake, who is known as the Third Robin. This is when the Joker confesses that he secretly implanted a microchip into Tim's brain when he kidnapped and tortured him. It turned out that the microchip actually contains the Joker's consciousness and genetic material. The reason why the Joker did this is because he wanted to create a miniature version of himself, and using Robin would be perfect since he knows that Batman really cares about him. In the end, Terry manages to help Tim return to his old self by delivering a shock to his neck and destroying the microchip. Number 8, Harley Quinn blowing up children. Many people would probably say that the Joker is way more evil than Harley Quinn, but a comic that came out in 2013 definitely proves that she can be just as cruel as him. Even though she is currently considered an anti-hero, Detective Comics Harley Quinn number 23.2 shows exactly how dangerous she could be. In the comic, Harley decides to give out free video game systems to children. Sounds nice, right? Well, it would have been if those video game systems did not have bombs inside of them. She blew all the bombs up and killed dozens, if not hundreds, of innocent children. What makes this even worse is the fact that she had no good reason or motive for doing this. All Harley wanted to do was get the Joker's attention, since she was still not over him. If you have already watched Suicide Squad, then you should know that DCEU Harley Quinn was very angry when she found out that a member of Suicide Squad has accidentally killed children before. Number 7, Bullseye kills Elektra. Elektra has always played a very important role in the Daredevil comics, which is why many fans were surprised when she died. Frank Miller is known for helping Daredevil become such a popular character, and he is the one who wrote this very shocking death. In the comic, Bullseye was hired by Kingpin to assassinate Daredevil, but he ends up failing, so he gets fired. This causes Bullseye to become obsessed with regaining his position as Kingpin's chief assassin, so he decided to go after Elektra. Bullseye impaled Elektra on her own side, and she ends up dying in Matt's arms. This storyline proves that Bullseye was willing to do anything to show Kingpin that he is a very good assassin. Originally, Elektra was going to become one of the very few comic book characters to stay dead, but Frank Miller changed his mind. Her growing popularity is what made Marvel realize that she needed to be resurrected. Number 6, Lex Luthor almost destroyed the universe. Lex Luthor became the president of the United States in Lex 2000, and he actually seemed like a pretty good leader. He tried to improve the country by putting more focus on science, making sure that there was a temporary prohibition on fossil fuels, and keeping both political parties happy. In the storyline, Our World's at War, Imperiex was the main villain, and he planned to destroy the current universe so he could make way for a new one. Imperiex arrived on Earth and destroyed 8 places on 7 continents. In order to save the universe, Lex Luthor assembled a team of superheroes, aliens, and the military. So you're probably wondering why Luthor's on the list, since it seems like he did something very heroic. Well, it turns out he already knew about the invasion in advance and did absolutely nothing to prevent it from happening. The reason why Lex allowed the war to happen is because he wanted everyone to see him as a good leader. Even though the universe was not destroyed, Luthor is still responsible for everyone who died in the war. Number 5, Magneto snaps Professor X's neck. This may be a little hard to believe since there was a time when Charles and Eric were very good friends. When Magneto was first introduced in the Marvel Universe, he was seen as a villain with no redeeming factors. It wasn't until the 80s when Magneto started to become a sympathetic character. If you're familiar with the Ultimatum arc, then you know that Magneto was mostly shown as a very evil character. In the arc, he stole Thor's hammer and went on a rampage against humankind as an act of revenge for the death of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. When the X-Men were on a rescue mission, Magneto decided to talk to Professor X. He explains to Charles that he will act as a god to cleanse the world and guide it to an era of mutant supremacy. Charles tells Magneto that he is not God and he will stop just like the past. This causes Magneto to become very angry and he kills Professor X by snapping his neck. Number 4, Dr. Octopus took over Peter's body. So what's worse than a villain trying to destroy a hero's life? Well, how about trying to steal it? If you're a Spidey fan, then you may have already heard about this comic book series, Superior Spider-Man. After Dr. Octopus found out that he was dying, he came up with a plan that involved switching bodies with Spider-Man. Otto managed to swap their minds when Peter decided to visit him. He became young and healthy, while Peter was now the one who was slowly dying. Otto wanted to prove that he could become the superior Spider-Man, so he did everything in his power to make sure that he was a better superhero and person than Peter ever was. One day, he used a brain scanner to discover that Peter's presence was still within his mind. They have a mental battle, and Otto ends up eliminating Peter by erasing his memories. He did do some good deeds as Spider-Man, such as defeating the Sinister Six and saving many lives, but that still doesn't make it okay to steal someone else's life. His violent way of punishing criminals eventually led to the creation of an army that was led by Green Goblin. This is when Otto finally realizes that he made a very big mistake. Number 3, Hush attempting to murder his parents. Thomas Elliot was a childhood friend of Bruce Wayne and he was born into a wealthy family. He hated his father because he was abusive and he hated his mother because she did nothing to stop him. Even though they were awful parents, they still made sure that their son was well educated. Tommy begins to become obsessed with an idea of having all of his parents' wealth, so he decides to plan out their deaths. When Tommy was very young, he cut the brake line of his parents' car, which is what caused a crash that killed his father and injured his mother. Tommy's plan failed since he was not able to kill both of his parents because Dr. Thomas Wayne saved his mother's life. After finding out that Bruce inherited the Wayne family fortune, Tommy became very jealous because there is nothing more important to him than money. So basically, Tommy becomes a villain named Hush, and he hates Batman because Bruce's father prevented him from successfully killing his mother and taking his family's wealth. Number 2, Black Manta killing Aquaman's son. Aqua Baby was killed during the Death of a Prince storyline. In the comic, Black Manta, the arch nemesis of Aquaman, kidnaps Arthur Curry Jr. He held the 2-year-old in a glass bubble filling with air. Black Manta forced Aquaman and Aqua Lad to fight each other to the death in order to free Aqua Baby. Finally, Aquaman manages to shatter the bubble holding his son, and that's when he finds out that his son is dead. Mera tried her best to save Aqua Baby's life by going on a long quest to find a special healing device, but when she returned home to Atlantis, she found out that it was already too late. Even though Arthur Curry Jr. is not as iconic as Superman and Batman, his death still managed to change the comic book industry and proved that villains are willing to do absolutely anything to ruin a hero's life. Number 1, the Joker paralyzing Barbara Gordon. Batman the Killing Joke is one of the greatest graphic novels DC has ever made, but some people believe that the storyline was a little controversial. In the graphic novel, the Joker breaks out of Arkham Asylum and kidnaps Commissioner Gordon. He tortures Gordon because he wants to prove that even the most noble people can be pushed to madness. The Joker realizes that in order to really hurt Gordon, he must go after Barbara. He decides to shoot Barbara, which is what caused her to become paralyzed and ended her career as Batgirl. What makes this even more evil is the fact that Joker took off Barbara's clothes so he could take naked pictures of her. The Joker sent the pictures to Gordon since he wanted to drive him insane. Some people thought that the Joker actually raped Barbara, but that has never been confirmed. And that's it for the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Valenplana, and I'll see you all later.